Welcome to Legobricks.
Hello, welcome back to Legobricks. Today we are going to be reviewing set 60026. You can see that in the top left. This has, as you can see, is quite a large set. It has quite a few things, but it can be broken down into a few categories. So firstly there's 8 minifigures and a dog, 3 main vehicles, which is a mobile crane, a bus, a street sweeper, and you do also have quite a few bikes. You've got some bicycles, motorbike, and then you have a nice vintage motorbike inside the bike shop itself, which I'll go over in a moment. You also have 2 buildings. You've got a pizzeria, and you also have the bike shop that I just mentioned, as well as this monument here. So let's go over each minifigure and kind of their area. So first of all, the street sweeper. So she has quite an interesting styling actually. I mean, yeah, she's got green trousers, rocking that Christmas theme with green and red. You've got this cap with the curved edge on the top, and a nice, well, interesting feature about her is that she actually comes with headphones that attach to the cap. And her vehicle, which is here, you've got basic bottom. The back wheels are larger than the front wheels, so it kind of tilts forward. It kind of reminds me of a mini tractor actually. And you've got this sweeper here. Now this is actually made out of 2 blocks, which I find quite interesting because on some models, like car wash models, they generally use one big one, but this is actually 2 separate sweeper blocks. And you've got front lights, so that's quite hard to see. Got front lights there. This does swivel around, so you could pull it up if they're not sweeping the streets anymore. Push it down, move left, right, and swivel it around like that. No backlights, but interestingly enough, it includes a hinge at the back, which is quite cool and interesting because even though the set doesn't include any trailers that can attach to this, if you have something that will attach, that's quite cool. You can use this to pull it around. Quite nice. You get these kind of vents on the side here. So next up we're going to go over the skateboard guy. Now if you watched our review of set number 60023, you would have seen that also comes with a so this has a purple skateboard. Now unlike set 0023, the city starter pack, this is only just the purple skateboard with no kind of detailing on it, and I quite like the colour. It looks a bit funny on video, it looks a bit bluish, but in person it's quite a nice purple colour. So that he has a bone in his hand, which it's just a standard bone which he can give to his dog. The dog itself, quite simple. Lego dogs are always really simple. Only detailing is on the face. So the couple, I mean really they could be anything. They don't have to be a couple, they could just be friends, they could just be random strangers and completely separate, but they kind of advertise as a couple on the packaging, but it's Lego, you can do what you like with it. So the man has quite a nice suit, you know, just the vest here and his tie, grey trousers. These are the actually only 2 characters in the set that come with hair. The rest are all wearing hats. Now the woman has quite a nice dress here. Well, it's not really a dress because she has trousers. And very nice detail on the hair. Let's now go over to the bus driver. So he's wearing a suit. He's got his uniform on, his Lego City Transport uniform, a blue top, black trousers, and a black cap. As for detailings on the face, he's got that kind of sideburns and moustache and whole facial hair going on here. And in his pocket you can see he actually has like some notes and a pen or something. As for his vehicle, this is his bus, which actually is really quite nice. It's a nice decent size. It could be a bit wider, but it includes plenty of space inside. As you can see at the front, you've got a sticker that says its bus number and where it's going. It does just say city, which can be annoying because, you know, you might want it to be more specific, but it allows options for expandability. You've got a number plate at the front here, so you've got four lights at the front. No indicators. Be quite nice to see, instead of just clear lights, to maybe see orange lights to show indicators. That'll be quite nice. And also these wing mirrors are actually quite unique because they actually fold up. Now they're not meant to go like that, but they're quite nice because generally on a car you'd have small wing mirrors, the bus stop, so it just has that quite nice simple public transport logo, and then it says here 143 city centre, 166 goes to the park, and the 319 goes to the museum. So there are a few hints at the museum with this bus, which could be a hint to a museum set later on. My apologies, there is already a museum set. Yeah, so let's turn it to the right side, which has two doors, and the doors are quite simple. They open outwards. Now, if you've ever been on the bus, you probably know most don't have doors that open like this, but it would be really hard to make Lego doors that kind of open like most bus doors do, so it's fine. I quite like it, and they've gone loads of use of this logo everywhere, which is, if you don't like it, that's fine. I mean, these are stickers, you don't have to put the stickers on. There are quite a lot of stickers in this set actually. Now, I personally think it makes it look nicer. However, not everyone likes stickers, and after a while they do get a bit ruined. I mean, it really is just a personal taste. Also, more advertising for the museum there. And then as for the back, we've got the advertisement for the pizza place, which is over there, which I'll go over in a second, and it actually has the opening hours for the pizzeria, which funnily enough aren't actually on the pizzeria itself, but it tells you the opening time. So Monday to Friday 11 to 9:30, and Saturday, Sunday, okay, so they're the times, which is quite a nice addition. Okay, and then you've got the same number plate, you'd hope so, and then you've kind of got this I mean, this is just a sticker here and the number plate's on it, but this is kind of like where the engine would be, so they've kind of added a bit of detail there. You probably can't see it. I will show you in the B-roll footage. Like, there's kind of a flap there, and then you've got a grill here. Obviously it's the engine, and you've got kind of a curved bumper here, but which would that's weird. I'd expect the number plate to be on here, but they've chosen to put it there. It doesn't really make too much difference. And then again, you've got you've got 4 lights in total. You've got 2 brake lights or just rear lights, and 2 reversing lights. Again, no indicators, which I'd like to see. I just like to see a lot of detail. Then finally, the left side is just windows, because there's no doors on this side, as it is a left hand drive car. So yeah, just glass panes alongside, and then you have a sticker here, another advertisement for the bike shop this time, which is over there. So this bus is, just like real life, a walking advertisement. And then let's look inside the bus, of course. Oh, and one more detail for the exterior of the bus. You've got these 2 vents here. They could be air conditioning, I mean, really anything you want. So that's the top piece. Then you've got this piece here, which you can take off. Now you can also take this piece on. So let's look inside the bus. Yes, pretty nice amount of detail. 8 seats, because you've got this one right at the back here. I've taken that piece off. So you've got seats here. So yeah, they haven't crammed it in. I quite like that they've, rather than just squish seats everywhere and put them 2 by 2, which would mean no space for walking around, they've gone with quite clever design. So you've got the driver's seat there, then directly behind it you've got a passenger seat, then more, and there's one behind this red piece, and you've got some more back there. So I quite like that design. It's going to be really hard to see, but there is a cup of coffee, or just a cup there, a red cup, and a ticket dispenser machine. Okay, so now let's go over the mobile crane, which has tons of detail. Now I did just say the bus has loads of detail, but think of the bus and times that by at least 3. Oh, sorry, forgot about the dude that comes with this. So he's got his hard hat, which is red, which is like all builders. You've got the orange suit with the grey kind of trim around it, and then you've got a blue sweater underneath, you can see, and a pen in his right pocket and nothing in his left, and then you've got the zipper here. And as for the back, plain orange. I think it makes sense for the stripes here, you can see these stripes. I think it makes sense for those to go around the back, but you know, Lego have decided to keep it simple by doing that. This has tons of detail, it's really cool. So first of all, it comes with this fencing, pretty basic here. These are actually stickers, which is a shame. I don't know why they wouldn't just print this on, but they are stickers, and you've got 2 orange beacons on the top, so that's quite simple. So let's start with the crane portion, that would make sense. So you've got this arm here, which goes up to about, I'd say that's about 70 degrees, maybe a bit less. I mean, yeah, more than 45 degrees, which is quite nice, and it extends so high you can't even see on the camera. I'll just extend it fully and show you just how far it goes out. So it goes out there. This is quite annoying though. I mean, yeah, it goes out far, but you've got to be careful, because firstly this string here, if it's too tight, it will start pulling back. So you've got to loosen this before you pull it out, so it goes out. And also it's not very sturdy, as you just saw. I mucked that up. The arm extends quite a lot. It's not that sturdy, but the design behind the arm is actually really cool. As you can see, it's got this kind of suspension design here that move up and down. You've got these pieces here that kind of lock it into place, and the crane also swivels around. Now it's quite a stuttery swivel, it's not exactly very smooth, but it does it nonetheless. And when you do swivel it around, it reveals a location for storing items. So you can put a spade in there, you could really put anything you like in there. It's a bit fiddly to make if you are under the age of 10. It may be a bit hard. Probably would recommend you ask your parents to help. So if you watch our building, you might notice that I was spending ages on this arm, because I actually did it completely wrong, and it's really not that easy to do, even for someone of my age. Oh yeah, and the front hook here can latch onto the front. So let's now go over kind of the base, because there's actually quite a lot on the base, so you can just see how complex it is. And these tires are actually really interesting, because I mean, they're just so big, and they make this vehicle feel really industrial construction like. I mean, compared to the bus wheels, which are tiny, this just has massive wheels, and it has 6 of them, and it looks really quite cool. I'm quite a fan of big lorries and trucks, and this really looks quite nice in my opinion. So you've got those 6 big wheels, you've got the 6026 on the sides, and on the back or the rear rather, you've got this, again, a kind of bumper curve. Lego are quite big fans nowadays of doing smooth backs, which is fair enough. And you will notice that these swivel out. Now these are to support the crane whilst it's, you know, moving its arm around, and I'll show that just in a brief second how that works. So on the left side, it's essentially the same as the right side. You've got loads of orange lights around here, loads of them, and yes, there are no red lights on the rear, which is a shame. Again, no indicators, annoying. You've got this quite nice kind of triangular design, and you have these wing mirrors, but instead this time, so they do the same as the bus where they swivel up. You've also got some tiny front lights here, which you can barely see. They're there, but to be honest, I would have liked them to be a bit more apparent. Oh, and of course the cabin I'll go over in a bit more detail afterwards, but you do have doors here to get inside them. They are quite annoying when you're moving the vehicle around because these back ones tend to flip out. But if you want the crane to be doing its thing, which is being in crane mode, you can put these pieces down. So there's 4 of these, and they all attach to the crane, and that's all jolly. So yeah, that's how that works. So when it's in crane mode, now there are no controls for the crane. I mean, in terms of like design, that you can't see any controls. I'd like it if there was like maybe a control panel here, so that the guy could just like stand here, and there may be some levers here. That'll be quite cool, or levers inside the cabin. Sadly there's not, but of course you could always just add a lever. Now the opening of this is quite interesting. It can be a bit annoying, however. So it does open like that. Simple. It's quite cool actually. It's one of my favorites because most vehicles like the bus, you'd have to pull the bits off and push them back, whereas this is a hinge design, so you never have to take anything off. You can just flip up. However, it's not really that stable. It's only held by one hinge, so this isn't really that stable. Then inside you've got this weird curved block here. Then obviously you've got the space for the driver to sit. Now, yeah, there's loads of space here. You could maybe even fit 3 minifigures. However, there are no seats, so it would be quite tight, but I'd like them to include seats because it would just make it feel more kind of like an actual crane. And also you can see the orange lights within the cabin, which isn't very realistic. However, really it's not a big deal. So that is the crane, and I'm so sorry that this video is going to be really long, but this is a big set and I want to cover everything in as much detail as possible. The bike shop. So the bike shop is probably the building or the piece with the most stuff inside it, really. So on the outside, actually before I get to the outside, the bike, the mechanic, whatever you want to call him, he has a phone, simple phone design. He's actually the only minifig in the set to have a phone, unlike the woman who had a curved hat. His hat is actually flat, which is quite interesting, and it's orange, of course. And then he has safety goggles on, wrenches in that front pouch. He's got a shirt underneath, as you can see, and again the back is just plain light blue and slightly darker blue on the bottom. Yeah, so that's the bike guy, and you can see there are kind of like crease lines on the shirt, which makes it just look a bit more authentic, I guess, as you can see there. So that's quite cool. And then we've got this really quite interesting designed bike shop. So yeah, it's a really nice design. It's got this curve. The Pizzeria actually has a lot of curves as well, but the whole front bit here is curved glass here. You've got these glass panes here, so it's very transparent, you can see through. So the pavement level, it's got quite a narrow pavement here, similar to the Pizzeria, which has a really narrow pavement. This is slightly wider than the Pizzeria and has a bit more detail. So you've got these kind of drains here along the side. You've got quite nice curb detailing as well. You've got this big center portion here. And before I forget, sorry, I'm forgetting things. So you've got this sign here, so I guess you could put that there. So you've got 50% sail off. Quite a simple design. It does bend forward, but it only bends to that position, which makes sense. That's what keeps it stable. So you've got that, and I mean, if let's say it's closed, you could just do it like that to show whatever you want to do. So you've got that. Also, fire hydrant, really quite basic. So one last detail before I get inside, actually a few more details. The spiral door is quite a really nice feature, so you don't see this a lot, and it's really not that stable, but it looks quite cool, and it's quite nice to have the revolving doors. They are quite cool. As I said, it's not that stable, and it's quite hard to actually use it without damaging it, but it looks quite cool. And then you've got this top part here, beneath sign, and you've got 3 lights that are designed to light up at night time. Now, just going back to the crane a bit, I mean, I just want to mention there's a lot of stuff in the set that has the ability to, you know, be shown as moving around stuff. So as you can see in the background here, you could use it to put the sign on. So I just wanted to mention that the buildings have quite a lot of ability to be used in conjunction with the crane. So let's go inside, and I will go over the bikes and stuff in a second, don't worry. So yeah, it's quite cramped in here because there's quite a lot of stuff in a small space, and it's quite hard to see on camera. But let's start with the bottom floor. So you've got quite a few different clothing here. So you've got a jacket here, another jacket there, a cap here, and you've got a drawer here for the person to put something in, and you've got a computer and a cashier here. I quite like the bike shop because you could, for example, swap his clothes out, which would be quite nice. And then you can see you've got 2 helmets here, and that's really it for the bottom. I mean, the bottom is just for the clothing section. Then at the top you've got a skateboard helmet, or just a bike helmet, and a green cap just behind that. It's quite hard to see right there. And then you've got this here, which is actually designed to put the blue and red bikes on. You've got one on the other side which sticks in like that. I really like that design, it's quite cool. And the bike itself, just go over quickly, is interesting. It's quite basic, but I like how they've gone with kind of the really thin wheels, but again, simple design, not too much going on here. It does kind of move around, it's not very smooth because obviously it's got a stand here. You've got this bike in here, which I'll go over just in a second, but just want to go over the floor here. You can see it's a orange and black checkered pattern. It's quite interesting actually, and it's got tile pieces here, and then it's got tile pieces. So I mean, I'm just going to compare these because that's probably the best way to look at both of them. So this is just a generic bike. I mean, it's got a nice lime green color scheme, nothing too fancy. You've got your stand here, same as on this bike. You've got your stand here and here. However, this bike does have a front light, but this bike is kind of more like a sport bike, road bike. This is more of a serious, more vintage bike, and this looks really nice. You've got the grey and red color scheme. It just looks really awesome. Got a lot more detail than this. That slots in up here. Now it's quite weird to kind of explain, but you've got this, really hard to show you here, this piece here, which is like a grabbing piece, and you kind of can just slot that in there, and that fits in there perfectly. So yeah, that's the bike shop over. I mean, that's every detail I can think of. So there you've got your bikes, and you've got your helmets, and you've got your people, and everything like that. So the monument, quite simple, basic, doesn't include too much here. You've got a block here, so I'll just take this part because it's quite simple. So you've got your base here. Don't know why it has a yellow brick in the middle, but it is designed like that. Then you've got this block here. It includes some quite nice details. So you've got the grey frogs. I mean, these could look like anything. They could look like ducks or whatever you want them to be, so they add detail there. And you've got a plaque on the front here. It just says 1432. Knowing Lego, it's probably a sign. Maybe that was a year or a date that something happened related to Lego, or maybe it's a hint That's an upcoming set. The writing underneath is just lines, you can't actually read it. Then you've got the knight who goes on top, who is pure silver, so he really does look like a statue, or she could be either. So you've got this sword. This is quite a blunt sword here. I guess either that's for safety or that's just a design, because I know in the Indiana Jones set the sword that Mina Spalkov has is quite sharp compared to this, which is quite blunt. You have a blank shield there, and the helmet, he has no. I would like to see them add like eyes and a mouth, because the statue obviously it's not a real person, but they still do have details like that. So that is the pretty basic monument. So last but by no means least, we have the pizzeria. So first of all, the pizza guy has a chef hat on top, which looks really quite cool. Then he's got grey beard, grey sideburns, grey eyebrows, so he's clearly quite an old chef, or he's just unlucky with grey hair at a young age. And then he's got his kind of chef outfit here with a red tie, not really a tie, more like it's a scarf. And then he's got a plate here, serving dish rather, with a pizza inside. He does have the buttons. So we have a very narrow pavement at the front. That's one negative with, I haven't really gone over negatives, that's not how these reviews are structured. It's more overview and what I like, because it would be very hard for me to give a Lego set a bad review because I just like them all so much. But one thing I don't like about this is just how narrow this pavement is. It wouldn't hurt to make it just a block wider. Even the bike shop has it a bit wider, especially as you've got flowers in the way. So if you do put this set on a pavement next to other buildings, you may have to extend the pavement out, and also the table gets in the way of the pavement there. So yeah, that's the front. Again, big curved panes of glass at the front, which is clearly a design they're going for, and more glass here. You've got the logo here, City Pizza, and you've got a kind of shelter above, and then you've got a skyline here in silhouette, which is quite a nice design actually. And then you've got a simple door, no fancy revolving door like the bike shop. You've just got a simple door that opens outwards. Again, this pavement is tiny, even the door opens out over the pavement. So on the left here we've got a table with 2 chairs and a umbrella here, and then you've got a pizza here. So there are actually 2 pizzas included, so one can go there. So that means that if he's cooking one, there's only one on the table basically. You've got 2 chairs there which sit adjacent to each other, or perpendicular to each other. And then on the left side, the right side, it has a menu here which has a pretzel, a glass of wine, and fish. Quite interesting that it doesn't have a picture of pizza on the menu, despite being called City Pizza. And then you've got the bins right here. Now this is really odd placement. Now yeah, I like the fact that they've added bins, it adds detail, just adds to that kind of pizzeria look. But then why would you put your menu right next to the bin? Surely it would be better if they just put the menu on a sign like this, where you could put that anywhere. Because that's another problem I have, the placement of the menu is really not the best. But yeah, you've got this fish in the bin, and then again, yeah, you've got the green and red flag on the top. Now inside it's not very wide, which means that it's quite hard to fit a lot in here really. But then again, it's actually easier to access because you've got this whole bit open here. So you've got the computer here, then you've got a clear pane here with where you can put like stuff inside this cupboard. Then you've got your grill here with a hood on top, extractor fan I think they're called, and then you've got a, I don't know if that's meant to be a sink or what, it's really hard to reach. So it's a bit of a weird placement. And then you've fan here, which is actually really quite cool. It spins around. It's not that stable, but I quite like the addition of the fan. And then here you've got two seats here sitting opposite each other, this time with two wine glasses. So I think that's everything in this pizzeria, and I think that wraps up the review. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out this channel and subscribe to see more. If you want to follow us, we're at Legobricks Tweet on Twitter. I'm Dominic London, and this has been our review of the Lego City Town Square, set number 60026. That doesn't want to focus. Yeah, in focus. No, not in focus. He's still in focus. Focus. There, no. It was in focus. There we are. I don't know what these are called, but they're like sweeper blocks, let's call them. They become quite hipster soon. I don't know what I'm talking about. Enough, it's just... Sorry, the mic just fell over. So the couple are the last two people that aren't, you know, attached to a large vehicle or building. Sorry, let's start that again. That sounded weird. Come on, stop on. Generally, on a car, you'd have small wing mirrors, which funnily, and again you have these wing mirrors. However, this time, shut up, Abby. You can probably not see that very well. Really quite interesting. Shut up, iPad. Really, if you ever record a video, mute the stupid devices you have there. So it doesn't wobble. Well, it does wobble around, but that kind of sticks it in there. And now I've just completely ruined this set.